Hi everybody and welcome to Lazy and Licorice, the cooking show where the food is easy because we're lazy, delicious because we're licorice, always vegan, mostly healthy and budget friendly because we love the animals, the planet, ourselves, and that shmoney, honey. Today we're getting into a super easy recipe. We are going to be making vegan pineapple upside down cake. So for this recipe, wait a second. We're going to be using a recipe from the internet. I'm going to link it down below. Very easy recipe, a few pretty simple ingredients. So all the ingredients we're going to need are here around me. So you're going to need some vegan butter. I'm just using some margarine. This is Glow Spread. Brown sugar, pretty standard. Some tinned pineapple. So the recipe calls for pineapple in juice. All I could find in juice was the chunks, so I got the chunks. But I did have another can of pineapple slices at home in light syrup. But if you could find these slices in juice, that would be ideal. Or just decorate the top with chunks. I don't think it really matters. And then maraschino cherries. I'm not using maraschino cherries. I'm just using regular red cherries from the grocery store. Okay, we're also going to need flour, some white sugar, some baking soda. We are going to need some salt, milk. We're going to be using unsweetened soy milk, pineapple juice, which we're using from the tin, canola or any other vegetable oil. We have here some canola oil, and then some vinegar. And I'm using apple cider vinegar from Bragg's, but you could also use regular vinegar according to the recipe. Okay, so here's what we're not using and why. We're not using eggs in this recipe. We're not using eggs because they're exceptionally cruel. The male chicks that are not able to lay eggs when they're hatched, they're just ground up in a blender and discarded. And we're not supporting the egg industry, and that's one of the reasons why. We're also not using milk. A lot of recipes also call for sour cream and butter, and we're not using things because the dairy industry is also extremely cruel, and baby cows are taken away from their mothers at days old and usually sold into the veal industry just so that we can have their mother's milk. So we're not supporting that either. And we're making a cake that is just as delicious and wonderful without supporting these industries. So let's get to the recipe. First, we're going to weigh out 56 grams of vegan butter. Okay, so we have our 56 grams of vegan butter, and we're just gonna pop that quickly in the microwave to melt. Now that our butter is melted, just gonna pour it into our pan. And we're gonna spread it all around. Once that's done, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get our sugar. We're using 100 grams of sugar. Just gonna use the same dish I just used for the butter. I'm gonna weigh out my sugar. Have our 100 grams of sugar, and I'm just going to spread that over the butter. Well, now that that's done, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get our pineapple slices, and we're just gonna arrange them in the pan. One in the middle, and then I just kind of squish in the others. You can also block these. That's actually a really good tip. I forgot the first few, but we're gonna block these next few. You could kind of block them to get rid of the excess liquid. For the spaces that are left, I'm just gonna tear a couple of pieces in half so we get our nice topping. There we go. Yay! Alrighty, and now what we want to do is we want to, wherever we see holes, we want to put cherries there. And what I'm gonna do next, which the recipe that I'm gonna link you to doesn't say to do, but a couple other recipes that I was researching online do say to do, is pop this into the refrigerator so that it can kind of set a bit. At this point now, we want to preheat our oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius. So now we're gonna start with the actual cake. So we're gonna put our mixing bowl on our scale, and we're gonna start with our 220 grams of flour. We have our 220 grams, and we're just gonna sieve that in. Okay, so we've sifted in our flour. Great. Now we are gonna put in our sugar. We want 200 grams of white sugar. Which ended up being almost all I had in this bag. Okay. 1 teaspoon of baking soda. That's another tip for the lazy side of this. If you have multiple measurements to do and you have to use measuring spoons, use the smallest one that the recipe calls for. This. So the smallest one the recipe calls for is half of a teaspoon. So I was able to take out 2 of these for 1 teaspoon, and then I'm just going to use the half for the salt. And that is 1 dirtied instead of 2. We're gonna whisk that together. So we're going to add our soy milk. I'm using unsweetened, unflavored soy milk, and we are going to use 180 milliliters of that. Okay. 60 milliliters of pineapple juice, which I'm getting from this other can of pineapple chunks. And then we want 80 milliliters of oil. Then we want 1 tablespoon of our apple cider vinegar. That's it. We are going to whisk this together until just combined. Don't want to whisk it too much, I don't think, because we don't want the gluten to develop. But we're gonna get a pretty thick batter, like so. Just want to taste it. Usually if the batter is good, the cake is going to be good. I'm just going to add a splash of vanilla. That is our batter done. Okay, so I've taken our topping out of the fridge. See how it's kind of solidified a bit? Okay. Now we want to go ahead and cover it with our cake batter. Okay, so here's our cake ready to go into the oven. Our oven is now at the required temperature. So I'm just gonna slide our cake in and set a timer for 30 minutes. Alrighty, so we have our cake here. We baked for 30 minutes. We took it out, covered it loosely with some foil. We put it back in the oven for another 25 minutes. We tested it in the middle to see if the toothpick came out clean. It didn't. I gave it another 10 minutes, then it did come out clean. So now we've been cooling it for about, I'd say 15 minutes at least. So I'm gonna invert it onto a plate. It's still quite hot. Ooh. For everything to kind of loosen up. Wow, that is gorgeous. Okay, so that's our pineapple upside down cake. It is absolutely stunning. It is gorgeous. It is beautiful. And we are going to taste it and do a little taste test to see how it tastes. But that is it. That's what we're making today. And thank you so much for watching. And remember, we want to try to contribute to this instead of this. And every time you choose vegan, you're not paying for this, but you are allowing this to happen. Okay guys, it's been a few hours now. The cake is definitely completely cooled, probably a little more cool than it needed to be. My family has actually had a couple slices, but I am gonna go ahead and slice it now for you guys and do my tasting notes. So I want to just cut a slice here of the cake. The topping is gorgeous. It is a beautiful cake. Stanosha. But we are here about taste. So I'm just gonna take a slice here. Okay, I want to show you what the texture on that is like. It is pretty dense. Okay. So now I'm gonna go ahead and I am going to taste this on camera and give you my unfiltered review. Let's dig in. It's very sweet. The cake itself is somewhat dense, kind of gummy. It's kind of sticking my mouth together a bit. It's quite sweet. Eaten alone without the pineapple, the cake isn't very flavorful. However, when you make sure to get pineapple and everything into the bite, it's good. It's not great, but it is good. With the topping, it's great. A little bit of a texture issue. Other than that, really enjoyed it. I think I would give it a 3.5 out of 5. It was easy to make, beautiful, stunning cake. A little bit on the dense side. Flavor is good when you eat everything together. I think it'll go well with ice cream, and I also think it will go good if you were to like pan fry it till crispy. I think it would be really good for that. So 3.5 out of 5. Thank you so much for joining me, and join me again for our next episode where I may be taste testing, or I may be making something, or I may be veganizing something. You never know on Lazy and Licorice. But we're all just here to have a good time, learn about vegan food, and make good vegan food accessible for everybody. Okay, thank you so much once again for joining me, and I do hope I see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like it and subscribe if you want to see me again. Peace, love, and plants. This is Nanny. Bye!